Hi everyone, I'm Sophie. I'm a third year JD student. I've studied the JD full time throughout, but noting that a lot of people take 3.5 years or 4 years to do it, doing 3 subjects or so a semester. I started in 2021, so I had a bit of the pandemic experience, but that's okay. My background before I did the JD was in graphic design of all things. Which actually ties nicely to, I guess, the output that I created in law apps. So law apps is a clinic subject where students create an app based on sort of legal advice or a legal issue. We produce apps individually, and then I guess the big crescendo of the subject is doing a group project together where you can either create your own brief for a legal issue you'd like to tackle, or we also have a couple of external organizations come in and provide a brief that you can tackle a real legal issue. So my group chose the latter, and we did a brief by a company called Portable, who are a social justice design sort of problem-solving agency. And we were tackling the issue of underpayment and wage theft in sort of the Australian hospitality landscape. So instead of showing you some slides about the app, I'm just going to show you what we ended up creating. And my group members aren't here today, but there were 4 of us who created this. So we created an app called Accurate, and basically in Australia, the minimum wage or award, I guess someone's pay entitlements are decided by modern award legislation, which is really complex, dense, and inaccessible for your average person to sort of access and work out what they're entitled to be paid, which is quite disempowering for people who are vulnerable or potentially being underpaid. Like, that knowledge is essentially quite difficult to find, and it's hard to get authority either as an employer or an employee to be like, this is based on the duties that you do, this is what you're entitled to be paid. Because yeah, there's just, you know, within hospitality alone, there are 61 categories. And like, if you had the legislation in front of you, that is pages and pages and pages to go through of particular duties. So we just wanted to reduce the legwork and make an interactive app where people could sort of enter their duties and work out, you know, what they're entitled to be paid. So as just checking as well, can you guys see that? Yep, cool. Obviously, it's not official legal advice. We haven't finished law school. This is an overview of the steps it goes through, just to give the user an idea of how the process is going to go. Then we move into, sorry if it's a little bit slow, working out. This as well can be used for an employer or an employee to check whether they are paying, you know, the correct wages, and then also for the employer to check what they're entitled to. So I've sort of just pre-filled this before. So I'm an employee, I'm over 21. This isn't covered by a certain agreement that changes wages. And then I will move to the next stage. And then I'll just pretend that I'm a kitchen attendant. And then this is where we sort of coded the app to interactively, based on what people enter, guide them down the correct route so that they don't have to, you know, do that themselves. And then the output that's created is the classification that they are, and then the entitlement of pay approximately for a full-time worker, as well as an output for a PDF that sort of it cites the correct spot in the legislation where their award is sort of cited. And then it's also provides some, you know, communication techniques if they feel that they're being underpaid, and where to go for that. So yeah, that's the app we created.